I hear your confusion everywhere I go. When it comes to good fats versus bad fats, you don't know what to eat anymore. Who can blame you? We're caught in the middle of a fat frenzy created by the recent explosion of conflicting news. So I've got two ladies, Adriana and Elizabeth, who've got lots of questions about their favorite fats. So Adriana, you got the butter in front of you, so what's confusing you about butter?
I love butter, and it is supposed to be bad for me, but all of the news says that butter's back. So now I don't know, should I eat it or should I not?
Question lots of folks are asking. Elizabeth, you prefer buttery spreads. What are the concerns for you?
Well, Dr. Oz, first, I love the creamy, buttery taste. I love the easy way it spreads on everything. But I did hear that it has a bad rap, and I want to know if it's good to give my family.
All right, so fair enough. So let's see how your favorite fats stack up. So Adriana, how much butter do you think you eat in a day?
Maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons a day.
All right, so let's just talk about what the appropriate amount is. According to at least the American Heart Association, they say that a total amount of saturated fat for the day should be roughly about 16 grams or less of the saturated fat. That's about 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. So you're already past it just with the butter. That doesn't include anything else that you're eating. Interestingly, the buttery spreads, the same amount, 2 tablespoons, has only 4 grams of saturated fat. So it's much easier to abide by the guidelines that the heart docs have if you eat the buttery spread. All right, you, Elizabeth, switched to the buttery spread for, I bet, a bunch of reasons besides taste. Did calories play into it at all?
Absolutely. I'm a mom of 4, so anything that I could do to lose some type of weight, meaning cut calories, that's why I changed.
And how much better do you think the buttery spread is than butter when it comes to calories? Hard to tell.
I say it is hard to tell. I mean,
Well,
it tastes amazing.
Let me help you with this, because it's actually an interesting calculation. So how much butter on average does an American eat? So is it 10 of those big sticks? You know, is it 15 of those big sticks of butter? No. The average American in a year eats 23 sticks of butter. That much butter. That, my friends, is a lot of butter. And that adds up to 18,600 plus calories every year.
Wow.
So Elizabeth, the equivalent amount in the buttery spread has only 12,600 calories, plus a little bit. So it turns out that buttery spreads have 30% fewer calories than butter. So your decision was a very wise one if you want to lose calories.
Thank you.
So I applaud you for that, but I got to say, even though it has a huge advantage for your weight, that's not the reason that I actually think you're making a wise decision. Let me show you why I care about saturated fat. And it all comes down to inflammation. So inside the heart, you've got these big arteries right in the front like that. And let's go inside these arteries that are bringing life-nourishing blood to the body. The blood cells are going through there, but over time, if you get a plaque build up and you have inflammation, a raging fire, the plaque gets irritated and then it begins to pull apart and rupture like that. And when it ruptures, now your body's trying to heal that scar, that scab that forms, blocks off all the blood that's passing through the heart. That leads to a heart attack, it leads to a stroke. This is why inflammation is an issue for me. And the saturated fats in many of the foods we eat, including butter and some of the meats, leads to this kind of a problem, we believe, if you have too much of it. So there's another kind of fat that I want to talk about called trans fats. It can also be a problem with this regard. And it is something that's been in the news a lot. So let's address this. Which of these, regular butter or the buttery spreads, has more trans fats in them? Is that why you're not eating it?
Yes.
Audience, how many people think Adriana's right that the buttery spread has more trans fats? Yeah. So most people think they know that. Although we have the smartest audience in television, it turns out neither of them has any trans fats anymore. They've been changed. So and you can look in the back. If you look at them today, they don't have partially hydrogenated vegetable oils anymore, especially the tubs that have the buttery spreads don't have them at all. So I think you're in pretty good shape. In fact, if you look more carefully at the ingredient list while you're there, make sure there's no artificial flavors in there, make sure there are no preservatives. I can't believe it's not butter is a good example of one that doesn't have any. And I think you should pay attention to those insights because now we know that we actually maybe can have our cake and eat it too. So let's talk about good fats. Obviously, buttery spreads have them. You know I love nuts because they have the healthy fats. The liquid fats, like in the oils, you know, the olive oil is an example. These things, and sunflower oil, they have less of these saturated fats. So they're a good way of getting that buttery taste in your mouth without having to deal with the saturated fat that I was addressing earlier. So Adriana, the big question for you is, would you be willing to switch from regular butter to an alternative?
I'd be willing to try, yeah.
And what would you make differently? Give me an example of a meal that you might use a buttery spread for instead of the regular old stuff.
Oh, I love toast in the morning.
Who doesn't?
Yes, it's so good with coffee.
Yes.
And I like to cook fish with butter, so I try that.
All right, so I have a deal for you. I want you to take this, I can't believe it's not butter, container. In fact, thanks to our trusted sponsorship partner, I can't believe it's not butter. These are all yours. It's the least I can do for you. Go make lots of toast and lots of fish. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.